Well, as you can see, I am not in Japan. Things didn't quite go as planned this morning. So ideally, right now, I should be in the terminal at Heathrow at the gate waiting for the flight to Haneda in Japan. But unfortunately, things fell apart today, as you could say. Things started to go well yesterday, so all packed up, ready to go. We only had hand luggage. Got a nice early night, and we woke up this morning about 3:30 to get ourselves off to the airport for around 4:30. So enough time to have a little bit of breakfast and wake up our brains before we headed off to the airport. Got to the airport in plenty of time, scooted through security. We had priority, so that didn't take too long. And we had enough time to pop into the lounge for a coffee before we headed to the gate. Headed towards the gate for boarding, got onto the plane. I was in seat A1, so that was really good. Straight on the plane, straight in the seat, and ready to rock and roll. Whilst boarding completed, they made the announcement that we're about to get underway. And then they pulled the gantry away from the plane and it slipped down and nearly ripped the door off the plane. So the plane door, and I'll put a picture of it here, couldn't close anymore. So they had pretty much, ripped the door off the plane and pulled it out of its hinges. So the captain came over the tannoy and said, unfortunately, due to an incident, we're not going to be able to fly on this flight. And we'll be disembarking from the rear because it's a bit of a danger for going through this door. And we had to slowly disembark so that the plane didn't tip backwards, which was quite interesting. Anyway, we finally disembarked from the plane, headed back to the lounge and looked at what other options we had. There was another flight at 9 o'clock, which would have got us into Heathrow just in the nick of time to make the connection to Japan. But unfortunately, that flight was already fully booked out. Looked at a couple of train options, but it just wouldn't have got us to Heathrow on time. So we've decided to cancel the Japan trip for now, and look to do that maybe later on this year or in the springtime next year when the cherry blossom trees are blossoming at the end of March, beginning of April. What we have had a look at is Singapore for next week. So hopefully leaving Wednesday, that'll be a 5-day trip to Singapore. So we'll see if we can get that booked in this week, and then we'll head out to Singapore and do a vlog from there. I haven't been to Singapore for a while, so it'll be interesting to go back, see how things have changed, take a walk down Orchard Road, and take a look at what's happened over the last 10 years in Singapore. Anyway, real shame that the Japan trip has fallen through, but still very much looking forward to the trip to Corfu at the end of September into a little bit of October. So looking forward to that. And also, hopefully we can get the Singapore trip booked in this week to get us out there for next week. Anyway, we will be vlogging that. Thanks again for tuning in. Sorry again about the Japan trip. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. Drop a comment down below if you've got any tips in and around Singapore. That would be great. Any travel tips and things you must see or things you should avoid. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.